guys, what is going on? This is your old pal CHH. I think this video is going to be coming out like late at night or later-ish at night. That's because I fell asleep on my graveyard night and I got nothing done. But that's not going to stop us. I'm going to stay on top of things. Today we're talking about Virtuosity. This is the new VSU. And for those of you that have been keeping score at home, sometime last year or the year before, I think it was last year, I decided I wanted to stick with the VSU line. I had most of them, but I was missing some, and thankfully some friends and fans of the channel helped make it a possibility with not ripping me off, and some people really took care of me. So for those of you that made that possible for trades and good prices, thank you, God bless you. So I'm up to date with it, so I decided to stick with it. And today we're going to be looking at Virtuosity. Now, I had never heard of this movie, and I wish I had better news to report than what I do, but don't worry, it's not necessarily bad news. Let's get into it. Now, Virtuosity stars Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington, which should sound really good. Now, the plot's not exactly confusing, but it's a little hard for me to just describe off the top of my head, so I'm just going to give you the Google plot synopsis of it because it surmises it pretty well. A former cop who has been imprisoned for murdering the psychopath who killed his family, Parker Burns, performed by Denzel Washington, is recruited to test out a new virtual reality program with the goal is to apprehend a computer-generated being called Sid 6.7, played by Russell Crowe, who has been modeled on hundreds of deranged criminals. When Sid manages to escape into the real world, Barnes must capture or destroy him before the soulless entity can go on a killing spree. So like I said, it's not overly complicated, but just trying to like reiterate that off the cuff could be a little difficult. The thing to note about this is when I think of 90s, virtual reality was like a big thing, right? Like I've watched a lot, being a big retro video game person, I saw that in the 90s, they were trying to make VR like a thing. One of the biggest flops of all time, you can't see it because it's literally right behind my mic thing, is my Virtual Boy in the case and everything, which was a Nintendo console that royally failed, royally flopped when it came out, and it just wasn't good. The VR wasn't good technology. Now, I don't know if VR really is ever going to get a foothold in the world, but for a while, it seemed like in the 90s, for people that are a little bit older than me and the generation before me, they probably experienced the 90s and probably saw a bunch of crazy stuff in the mall of like VR, like simulating stuff. So like, I dig the premise, and because of that, this makes this movie feel inherently 90s because it was trying to predict the future of, you know, what reality would be. So the thing about Virtuosity is this kind of falls in this pattern that we're seeing with the last couple VSUs, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I keep getting my hopes up. So is Virtuosity a good movie? I'll say this. Denzel and Russell Crowe are great. There are some interesting, I won't say amazing, but I'll say very interesting effects works done in here, especially with this weird morphous modulating scene of Russell Crowe, Sid, coming into the world in this almost kind of weird AI stuff that we're seeing on Instagram and TikTok right now, scene that I liked. It's not, to me, it doesn't necessarily need to look super impressive because it is from the 90s and it's trying to do a virtual reality thing. The thing about Virtuosity that kind of just bums me out is I got done with the movie and I was like, wow, Denzel was great. Denzel's always great. Russell Crowe, I don't think I've ever seen him do a bad performance. I wasn't even left underwhelmed by Virtuosity. I just was like, I don't know how often I'd want to revisit that. It just feels like a movie that it's missing that X factor. And I feel like that's what's going on with the VSUs right now is they've been able to go through, I think they're all Paramount titles too so far. Okay, MGM. Navy SEALs was MGM, but Paramount and Paramount did the last two, with Congo being the one before this. I feel like these are movies where, on paper, they should be super hits. But when you watch the movie, there's nothing even inherently wrong with it. I mean, there's things I like about Virtuosity. The problem is it didn't have a lasting effect on me. By the time I got done with the movie, I was just like, that was fine, but I can't see myself ever really wanting to revisit that. Which bodes the question, is it worth picking this up? Well, we can get into like the details about the release, but as a movie goes, you should check out before really getting, right? It's just one of those things where you could like it and connect with it on a deeper level than me, which I don't think there's really a deep level to connect with on this. I think it's just a fun movie. And I like it, don't get me wrong, but man, like, I feel like the last three movies are 90s movies with Virtuosity, Congo, and Navy SEALs. where they work. They're not bad movies, but they lack that thing that connects it to the audience on a deep level, and that's how I feel. But I will say this, out of the last three, I do think Virtuosity is the best out of the three. Like I said, you really can't go too wrong with Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington, but there's all this kind of like futuristic looking stuff with people, certain hairstyles and the way they dress that just makes you chuckle at what they thought the future was going to be like. And there's some decent action scenes in here. So I just wish I connected with this movie on a deeper level. Other than that, I can't really complain about Virtuosity. I'd give the movie 3 stars out of 5, which I think is fair. But let's look at the release. I do like the artwork. It's very vibrant green. Paramount logo on top there, Virtuosity. Very much a VR type of look that they have. Here's the inside of it. I will say, nobody does packaging and releases like Vinegar Syndrome. There's Denzel right there. It's just incredibly 90s, the design of this thing. And I like it. Man, this thing has a very strong smell. So you can have that artwork on there, but of course you can reverse it to, I guess that was the theatrical. Even that, it just doesn't really grab your attention that much. We do have some special features on here. Let's look at the back and talk about that, because this is where it does shine. 4K UHD contains the 106-minute feature presentation and Dolby Vision HDR, newly restored from the camera negative, with the following sound options: 5.1, 2.0, and a brand new commentary track with the director Brett Leonard and Jen Brainscombe from Cinematic Void, and another brand new commentary track with writer and film historian Walter Chaw. Also included is the Blu-ray disc containing everything on the UHD, plus the following special features: Democratizing Virtual Reality, a 13-minute interview with the director Brett Leonard on the making of Virtuosity, ahead of its time, an interview with producer Gary Lucchesi on the development and legacy of Virtuosity, a virtual reunion, 38-minute, a featurette with Brett Leonard, Kelly Durkin, and George Berger, the pioneers behind the interactive screens of Virtuosity, God Complex, an interview with screenwriter Eric Burnt, Character First, a featurette on assembling the cast of Virtuosity, featuring interviews with casting director Deborah Aquila and supporting actors Steven Spinella and Mary Morrow, with an image gallery. So guys, I actually was, I tested out the Blu-ray. So the 4K disc is in here, but it comes with a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. The 4K looked really good. I have crap all to compare it to. This is the only way I own Virtuosity. But I was really happy with this. I was more happy with this than Congo. Congo I thought looked good, but it's almost like the negative was just like kind of old with the image, but it was crisp and sharp. But like Virtuosity, I thought looked really good. So super happy with that. And in terms of special features, time-wise, it wasn't the longest amount, but they were good. They were kind of those kinds of special features are good. You get in, you learn about the stuff. They don't fluff it up too much. 14, 13-minute interviews with producers and directors. The featurette that they did was closer to 40. But overall, like I came out of the special features fairly satisfied with a lot of stuff that I would have wanted to know about the movie. So, I mean, it's a great release. I wanted to get this out quick because with these VSUs, you know, sometimes they sell out really fast, sometimes they don't. I think Virtuosity is moving, but I don't know if it's moving as fast as Congo did. I think Congo sold out. I think it did. And of course, we get the cool book. Very strong scent on there. And you get the ideas with the book. The books are good. A lot of writing in here. So, good release. I just wish, like, I connected with these movies more. It's like, this is the third VSU in a row where I like the movie. I'm happy with the movie, but I just don't know how often I'm going to want to revisit them. That's the problem. Like, they're just missing that X factor that makes me want to watch it again, almost like a week later. So that's where we're at, guys. So that's the latest VSU. This is the third 90s film in a row where it's just a good movie, but I'm missing something to where I'd love it. But I wanted to get this out because the VSUs are popular, and I do enjoy the line. I like that they're a couple a year, and they feel like big deals. So, and they put a lot of work into these, and I respect that. So, guys, let me know if anybody out there loves the movie Virtuosity. I did enjoy watching it. I just hope maybe sooner rather than later I'll have the desire to revisit it. But let me know your thoughts on the movie down below. This is your old pal CHH, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.